it's David. You guys have been asking me questions about exhausts, so it's time to answer some of them. One of the first things that people look to change on their bikes is to actually replace the exhaust, and normally because they want something louder. If you want something that gives you better performance, then I'd strongly recommend going for one of the brand exhausts, one who's got a reputation for generating more power. You can buy some very cheap exhausts which will just make the bike sound louder, and that's great if that's what you're after. But don't be fooled into thinking that those are going to give you power increases, because it's very unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's very unlikely. But rather than spend out money, there are some things you can do to make your bike louder. Now, I make no secret that, in my opinion, the best investment you can make if you want a louder bike is to decat it. Get rid of the cat and the pre-silencer and replace it with a decat pipe. That will make your bike probably as loud as you want it to be on the standard exhaust. But there is a mod you can make without changing anything else that will make your bike louder, and that's to remove the baffle. So that's what I'm going to show you today. It's a relatively quick and easy mod to do. I've picked up a second-hand silencer off eBay. Someone has tried to do some mods to it, haven't got very far, so I'm going to finish what they started. But the first thing I'm going to do is to show you the debaffle. In probably the next video, I'm going to show you how to stubby it. The exhaust I used to run on my bike before I got the Akrapovic was this one. And to be honest, this is great. I really like this exhaust. I really, really do rate this. It's been debaffled and it's been stubbied. So stock exhaust is about this much longer. I'm going to show you how to do this in the next video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do this. So this is what the bike looks like stock. So you can see you've got this sort of secondary pipe sticking out the middle, and this is what it looks like once it's been debaffled, and this is the baffle. So what we're going to do, quite simply, is we are going to take a hole saw and we're going to actually drill that out. Now, you could just get a normal drill and drill some extra holes around here. That will make it louder. But I've chosen a hole saw that's just the right size. In this case, it's a 40mm or 1 9/16 hole saw. And we're just going to stick it in and drill it out, like as has been done with this one. So let's see what's involved. You might notice the rivets are missing around here. I think the previous owner thought if he took these rivets out, he could pull this end cap out. We'll cover that in the next video. But for now, we're going to start drilling. So first thing is we're going to use plenty of oil, cutting oil in this case, which will keep the blade cooler, lubricated, and cause less problems. I'm also going to run it on slow. Okay, it's getting hot, it's cutting through nicely. Just take your time. And you probably can't see in there, but I can see a nice cut started to happen. And I'm just going to take my time. There's no point trying to hurry this. All that's going to happen is you're going to overheat the sawtooth. And it's not a race. there we go, job done. Now you can see all that trash and metal cuttings in there, so really we want to take the silencer off just to tip that all out, blow it out, and what we've got is a nice smooth cut just here, and it's because I used a drill that's about the right size. That's a nice clean flow as far as we're going to get. It's a little bit sharp in terms of proper power generation, but we can get a file in there if we want to and just round that out a little bit, but really it won't make that much difference. Deep down in there is the bit we've just drilled out, and you can see the sort of perforated exhaust coming here. So let's pull this exhaust off, tip that out, blow that out, and then see what it looks like. I've covered taking the exhaust off in previous videos, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. The trick with exhaust is putting them back on, and because I run an Akrapovic, this is set up for my Akrapovic exhaust. As a result, this doesn't fit as well as it should. When you're changing slip-ons, and you're not going to be changing slip-ons, so you won't have this problem because everything will be adjusted for your bike. You end up having to move and adjust all the bits of it around, including the actual decap pipe, to make everything fit just right, because these pipes are not made the same. That's not exactly the same length, it's not exactly the same angle, so things have to change. But to take it off is quite simple. We need to take this clamp off. Now, inside here is a seal. If you're going to do this, you might want to buy a new seal to go in here, just in case yours gets damaged. I tend to do a bit of a workaround most of the time, but this actually is quite a new seal in here, because when I bought the decap pipe, it didn't have a seal. Right, now so I'll just loosen that before I take it off. Just gonna remove this bolt. Okay, that's pretty much loose. Like this, catch your washer, your spacer I should say, and the washer. I like to keep them together. And now this is loose. You may have a nut on the back of this you need to undo. This one has a captive nut, my other one doesn't, so take the bolt out, maybe the nut off the other side. Don't lose all the spacers that go here. Move that clamp out of the way, and now we can tip all the rubbish out. So that is the stock baffle, and the bike is going to be much louder without this. We've got a metal seal in here. This is still in nice condition, so that's okay to reuse. And this is in pretty good condition here, so that's all good. So that simply goes on there. This you sort of have to, you can take it apart by like that, but all the time it's on the bike you can't do that. So you just have to sort of wiggle it about a bit and open it up so it goes over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on here. I'm just going to stick, so don't lose your parts of that. Just going to stick the bolt in. Just to hold it in place, very roughly. And it looks like my seal is breaking up, so I'm going to have to buy a new one of these. don't like being reused between different exhausts. And then get the clamp back over it, get it square on, get it square over both sides. And if you've got it done up right, the gap here should be quite small, and you may need to wiggle this about quite a bit to actually get that to clamp up properly. So bolt with its washer, spacer in between. That should go pretty much all the way tight. As I say, and don't be afraid to move this around, wiggle it around to get a good fit and to get that to tighten up really nicely, but still at the same time trying to keep this roughly in the place where it's going to be. Yeah, so might want to budget for a new seal. You can buy them from your KTM dealer. They're not cheap, but you do need it. So I'm going to have to buy or put one on order and buy a new one. And now we can tighten this back up. Now what you should do is get this bolt in loosely. What I made a mistake there, I tightened that up. What you should do is get this loosely in place first before you tighten anything up. I'm taking this back off to fit my Akrapovic, so it's not staying here. Let's tighten that up. There we go. Right, let's see what it sounds like. If all you want is a louder bike, this is all it takes, is just remove this. Buy a hole saw, borrow a hole saw, stick it in a drill and remove it. That's all it takes. You don't need to spend hundreds of pounds, dollars, whatever, buying a new exhaust. This is the cheapest method of changing your exhaust note to make it a louder bike. That's all you care about, is making it louder. I would say do this. One word of caution: if you are thinking of decatting your bike, you might well want to keep this in. So probably a good idea to hang on to it. It would be fairly easy to weld this back in, so don't throw that away. If I didn't decat, my favourite thing is to stubby, and that's going to be the subject of the next video. It's quite a simple operation. Anyway, that's not this video, so I will stop talking about it. Debaffle. Easy, cheap. Why wouldn't you? Makes the bike louder. Job done. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you want to see the follow-up videos. There's one coming up to stubby the stock exhaust, and there's a follow-up on the Akrapovic on how to actually remove the baffle if you don't have a decat. If you do have a decat, you probably don't want to remove the baffle. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.